Welcome back to the channel, US Rare Coins News. Top 1, people are finding this quarter in pocket change, then discovering it could be worth thousands of dollars, and most Americans still don't realize they've been ignoring one of the biggest hidden coin treasures in circulation. At first glance, the 1776-1976 Washington quarter looks completely ordinary, just another old quarter with scratches, faded silver color, and George Washington staring off into space like every other coin. But then you notice something strange. The date doesn't say 1 year, it says 1776-1976. And suddenly, that forgotten quarter sitting in a drawer starts looking a whole lot more interesting. Back in 1976, America celebrated its 200th birthday, and the U.S. Mint released special bicentennial quarters to honor the occasion. Millions were made, which is exactly why people stopped paying attention to them, but hidden among those millions are rare versions collectors will pay serious money to own. One man from Pennsylvania discovered that in the most unbelievable way possible. He was digging through the cup holder of an old pickup truck he bought at auction, mostly looking for loose change and receipts, when he spotted a dirty bicentennial quarter stuck beneath the seat rail. At first, he laughed and almost tossed it into a vending machine, but the coin looked oddly shiny compared to the others, almost like it had a different color under the dirt. Later that night, he cleaned it gently and noticed the edge looked unusual, no strong copper stripe, just a smooth silver-colored rim all the way around. That tiny detail changed everything. He took the coin to a local coin shop, and within minutes, the dealer told him he may have found a rare 40% silver bicentennial quarter. That quarter hidden under a dusty truck seat reportedly sold for thousands after collectors realized how well preserved it was. Now people all over the country are checking every 1776-1976 quarter they can find, because the valuable ones still show up in circulation when nobody expects it. Here's exactly what you need to look for right now. First, grab any Washington quarter with the dual date 1776-1976 on the front. Then flip it over. Instead of the normal eagle, you'll see a colonial drummer boy holding a torch surrounded by stars, one of the most iconic quarter designs ever created. Now comes the important part. Hold the coin sideways and inspect the edge under bright light. If you see a thick copper-colored stripe, it's usually the common clad version, but if the edge looks silver all the way through with no copper showing, your heart should start pounding, because you may have the rare silver version collectors hunt for. Next, check the mint mark near Washington's ponytail on the front of the coin. If you spot an S mint mark, that's a major clue, because many San Francisco bicentennial quarters were struck in 40% silver for collectors. But wait, because things get even crazier. Some bicentennial quarters have rare minting errors, doubled lettering, off-center strikes, strange die cracks, or unusual surfaces that make collectors lose their minds. And then there are the ultra-high-grade examples, quarters preserved so perfectly they look almost untouched after nearly 50 years. Those are incredibly hard to find because most bicentennial quarters entered circulation immediately, bouncing through registers, vending machines, laundromats, and pockets for decades. That means coins with blazing luster, sharp drummer details, and clean surfaces are becoming harder and harder to find every year. And the wildest part is, people still spend them without checking. Think about that, a quarter that could be worth hundreds, even thousands, sitting in a gas station cash register right now while someone reaches past it without a second thought. That's why collectors are obsessed with bicentennial quarters, because valuable examples hide in plain sight better than almost any other American coin. So tonight, check your spare change, check old jars, check inherited collections, and especially check every quarter with that strange 1776-1976 date, because one tiny detail could turn an ordinary-looking coin into the discovery of a lifetime. And if you think this quarter is unbelievable, wait until you hear about the Lincoln penny with a microscopic minting mistake so rare, experts once thought only one existed, until another was suddenly discovered hiding in a child's piggy bank decades later. Top 2, you've probably held this quarter before, maybe even spent it without thinking, but one 1981 Washington quarter shocked collectors after selling for thousands of dollars, and now people are checking every quarter in their pockets. At first, the 1981 quarter looks painfully ordinary, just another small piece of change with scratches, dull silver color, and George Washington's familiar face staring back at you. Nothing about it screams treasure. That's exactly why these coins get ignored. But hidden among millions of 1981 quarters are a few rare examples so difficult to find in top condition that collectors compete like crazy to own them, and most people have absolutely no idea. One cashier in Nevada learned that in the most unbelievable way possible. During a late-night shift at a grocery store, she noticed an unusually shiny quarter sitting in the register tray. It looked different from the others, cleaner somehow, almost glowing under the fluorescent lights. She nearly handed it out as change, but instead slipped it into her apron pocket because something about it felt unusual. Weeks later, after hearing about valuable quarters online, she took a closer look at the coin under a desk lamp, and suddenly realized this wasn't just another quarter. The details looked incredibly sharp, the surfaces were smooth, and the coin still flashed with bright mint luster after decades. Curious, she brought it to a coin dealer, and the reaction stunned her. The dealer explained that high-grade 1981 Washington quarters are notoriously difficult to find because so many were poorly preserved during circulation. That little quarter from a grocery store register eventually became worth far more than 25 cents, and suddenly, everyone around her started checking their own coins too. Now here's where this story gets really exciting. The 1981 Washington quarter was struck in Denver, which is why you'll see a tiny D mint mark near Washington's ponytail on the front of the coin. Millions were made, but most entered circulation immediately. That means they got scratched, dented, worn down, and damaged almost instantly through everyday use. So today, finding one with blazing luster and crisp details is surprisingly rare. Here's exactly what you should check right now. Grab any quarter dated 1981. Then look closely for the tiny D mint mark. Next, hold the coin under bright light and slowly tilt it back and forth. Do you notice a spinning glow racing across the surface? Collectors call that cartwheel luster, and it's one of the biggest clues your coin may have survived in exceptional condition. Now focus on Washington's hair, cheek, and jawline. If the surfaces look unusually smooth with very few scratches or marks, stop right there, because most 1981 quarters were heavily damaged in circulation. Then flip the coin over and inspect the eagle carefully. Sharp feather details, strong lettering, and clean fields can make a massive difference in value, especially when combined with original mint shine. But here's the part that shocks collectors the most. Some 1981 quarters in extremely high grades are so hard to find that certified examples have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auction. Why? Because almost nobody saved these coins when they were new, people treated them like ordinary pocket change. That means truly pristine survivors are incredibly scarce today, and every year, they become even harder to find. And the scariest part is, valuable examples still slip through circulation unnoticed. Think about it, somewhere right now, someone could be paying for coffee with a quarter collectors would fight over, simply because they never looked closely enough. That's why treasure hunters constantly search bank rolls, coin jars, laundromats, vending machine returns, and old collections hoping to spot that one rare survivor hiding among ordinary change. So before you spend another quarter tonight, check the date, check the mint mark, inspect the shine and details carefully, because one overlooked 1981 Washington quarter could turn out to be worth far more than anyone around you realizes. And if you think this quarter is unbelievable, wait until you hear about the tiny Roosevelt dime with a minting error so strange, experts believed it should never have escaped the mint, until one suddenly appeared in circulation and sold for enough money to buy a brand new sports car. Top 3, an ordinary-looking 1985 quarter sold for thousands of dollars, and the terrifying part is, people still spend these coins every single day without checking them. At first glance, the 1985 Washington quarter looks completely average, scratched up silver color, worn edges. George Washington staring forward like every other quarter in your pocket, nothing about it looks valuable. That's exactly why the rare ones keep slipping through unnoticed. Most people think valuable coins have to be ancient, gold, or covered in strange designs, but collectors know the truth. Sometimes the biggest treasures are hiding in the most ordinary change imaginable. One college student in Illinois discovered that in the most random way possible. He was counting laundry money late one night when he noticed a quarter that looked unusually bright compared to the others. At first, he almost ignored it, but the coin had this strange icy shine under the light, almost like it had never really circulated. Instead of tossing it into the washing machine fund, he dropped it into a drawer and forgot about it for nearly a year. Then one evening, while scrolling through coin videos online, he heard someone mention that high-grade 1985p quarters could be surprisingly valuable. His heart started racing. He grabbed the coin, placed it under a lamp, and suddenly noticed details he'd never seen before. Washington's hair looked razor-sharp, the eagle feathers on the back were incredibly crisp, and the surfaces still flashed with bright mint luster after decades. A local coin dealer later confirmed the unbelievable truth. That ordinary quarter had survived in exceptionally high condition, something incredibly rare for a 1985p because most were heavily used in circulation almost immediately. Suddenly, that forgotten laundry quarter became worth far more than 25 cents. Now collectors all over America are searching through jars, vending machine returns, couch cushions, and old bankrolls hoping to find another hidden gem. Here's why the 1985p quarter is so interesting. The P means the coin was minted in Philadelphia, and unlike older Philadelphia quarters, these coins actually carried a visible mint mark. Millions were produced, but almost nobody saved them in perfect condition. That means most examples today are scratched, dull, and heavily worn from years of everyday use. So when collectors find one with blazing luster and almost flawless surfaces, the value can jump dramatically. Here's exactly what you should look for right now. First, check the date on your quarter, make sure it says 1985. Then look near Washington's ponytail for the tiny P mint mark. Now hold the coin under bright light and slowly rotate it. If you see a glowing cartwheel effect moving across the surface, stop right there, because original mint luster is one of the biggest clues your coin may be special. Next, examine Washington's cheek and jawline carefully. Most circulated quarters from 1985 are covered in tiny scratches and dents, but cleaner surfaces can mean a much more valuable coin. Then flip it over and inspect the eagle on the reverse side. Look for sharp feather details, bold lettering, and clean fields with very few marks. But here's where things get really crazy. Some rare 1985p quarters also show minting errors, doubled letters, off-center strikes, or unusual die cracks that collectors absolutely love. And because most people never examine quarters closely, these hidden treasures often pass through circulation completely unnoticed. Think about that for a second. A coin worth hundreds, maybe even thousands, could be sitting in a parking meter, hidden in a cash register, or mixed into spare change on someone's kitchen counter right now. That's why experienced treasure hunters check every quarter carefully, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary can come down to one tiny detail. And the scariest part is, every year, fewer high-grade 1985p quarters survive. Coins get damaged, lost, scratched, or spent without a second thought, making pristine examples even harder to find over time. So tonight, before you spend your spare change, check every 1985 quarter closely, look for the P mint mark, inspect the shine, study the details, because one overlooked coin could completely change the way you look at pocket change forever. And if you think this quarter is unbelievable, wait until you hear about the rare Jefferson nickel with a minting mistake so bizarre, experts thought it was impossible until one appeared in circulation and sold for enough money to buy a luxury SUV.